to the new Overlords Podcast. I'm Max, and this is a video game show where I'm joined every week by the protagonist to my deuteragonist. It is Sema. Hello there, Sema.
Hi, Max, you deuteragonist you.
Deuteragonist, yeah. Max learns a new word and then has to use it 50 times in the next 48 hours. Apparently, deuteragonist is like the secondary main character, but not the main character.
It's like the redheaded friend.
Yeah.
Or the black friend.
Yeah, it's the Ron Weasley.
The Ron Weasley, yeah.
to Harry Potter. So I'm the Ron Weasley in this, or am I the antagonist? I couldn't decide actually, but I wanted to use the word deuteragonist. Is Sema the protagonist and am I the antagonist? Probably, but we'll go with deuteragonist for today.
And you get to check off like the box like 5 times for this
yes.
conversation.
Deuteragonist. You get to...
So how are you doing today, Max?
I am deuteragonisting very well. How are you? I'm doing so great because I played a ton of video games over the weekend, a bunch of different ones, and for a lot of time. I kind of took a little game dev break. I was a little burnt out from getting our Alpha 2 together on Garden and a Goat, of course. The alpha's going really fun. It's good. I really appreciate everybody who's in there testing. But anyway, I was a little burnt, and I took a couple days to just decompress, and I played a lot. I played a lot of things. Got some good workouts in, got some good walks in. And
the doctor ordered you a prescribed program of video game playing this weekend.
Yes, all work and no play makes Max a dull boy. So I will be talking about, this is the only one I won't talk about today that I did still, because we talked about it all last week and I played a lot more of still, is No Man's Sky. So not only did I do the expedition all the way through twice, one on a new save and one on my main save, which if you do it on your main save, it sort of like converts the main save temporarily into the start from scratch expedition mode, but you can bring a couple things over and you can bring a couple things back to your main save, which is the bonus. Because you could like collect some of the rewards, the in-game rewards, not the overall rewards, because those kind of unlock for your account, but the in-game rewards like special, like slot unlocks and things that are hard to get. So yeah, I was really glad that I did it on my main save. Corley's been telling me to do it that way, and I'd keep not doing it. But yeah. You can only do it once though on your main save, because otherwise I would have done it again. I would have like farmed the hell out of it, because there's something I need. I need these unlocks for my new Corvettes. Well, see, I said I'm not going to talk about No Man's Sky, but I guess we'll go on for a little bit more. I did play around with building those Corvette ships that we showed last week. I should have brought some of the pictures, could have showed them on the stream here. I just bit my tongue while I'm talking. This is great. Really good. We're getting kicked off right here. Anyway, I built a version of the Razor Crest from Mandalorian to fly around in, which was fun to build. Came out pretty good. The front I didn't like as much. The back came out really good with, the engines that go up and the landing bay that flips down in the back. It looked really good from the back. But it wasn't a practical ship, because it was sort of like 3 levels and you had to walk upstairs to get to the cockpit, which is the way the Razor Crest was designed. And I didn't like that. So I did it, had fun with it, took some pictures, and then I disassembled it and made a new one that I like better and did some part farming. Little slip of the tongue there. Farmed up a bunch of the parts that you need, got some upgrades for it, bunch of stuff. So there's still more I want to do, and more even than that I had missed from the last one. I have a settlement, but I also then, because I was playing enough of my main save, it popped up and said, hey, there's these other guys that have another settlement, the autophages, which are kind of like these robot people. They've got another settlement that needs help too. Why don't you go check that out? And I didn't yet, but now I've got that I could go do too. So it's been fun. But I did play another couple things that we will talk about that are fresh and new. We'll talk a lot today, a fair amount. We'll talk probably about 20 minutes about Abiotic Factor, That's the main thing that I've been playing, the new thing that I've been playing for about the last week and a half, 2 weeks. And then I played top of the news. Why don't we get to that? I played a little Hollow Knight. So let's talk about that news.
Good news, everyone!
I played some Hollow Knight Silksong. There she is. There's a little Hornet running around. And I know you've done some research on this and know who Hornet is now. And yeah, it was cool. It's cool. It's very fun. It's something I admire. It's not my favorite kind of game. I bounced off it pretty quick. But boy, I see the why people might really like it and want to play this kind of game. It's a very game. It's a very like arcadey kind of game. You know, it's a platformer, and you know, jump around and fight the things and dodge and jump and dodge and fight. And a lot of like parkour and things like that. Little bit of progression, a little bit of unlocking stuff. Not super like strategy or puzzly, but yeah. So you checked some of this out too, and the art and stuff like that, and the history of it. What are your thoughts so far on what you're seeing about everybody and their thoughts on it?
Wait, the people's thoughts or thoughts on the game?
Your thoughts on what it is, but then we can also talk about how everybody loves this thing, how it's the most popular thing in the world right now.
First of all, I think Hornet is like one of the best characters ever.
Yeah, design wise.
I mean, yes, how she's designed, how she's animated, and in fact, of her being a very simple figure, she looks to me super realistic in her movements and in her combat, and when she flies from ledge to ledge.
Yeah, even for just being, you know, what, 3 colors and, you know,
3 colors,
simple
and her
lines and
her clothing is just like a skirt up that comes down from her neck.
Yep, she's practically a stick figure.
Right, but so expressive. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I love the little needle weapon. That's certainly a cool thing.
Right, like in Hollow Knight, Ghost had a nail that was his weapon.
Yeah, and hers is more of like a sewing needle-ish kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's very well designed. Even just the way her head slopes back, just looking at her gives you the feel of motion. The fluttering of the little skirt as she runs around is just more of just that motion that looks really good. I played it for about 20 minutes, 15 minutes maybe. I played it 2 rounds. Oh, guess back plays every podcast. I played for about 2 rounds. The first round, I played it all the way up to the first boss, did the first boss fight, and rage quit. Not rage quit. I ambivalent quit.
Right. Like, I'm not up for this, quit.
Yeah. And I was trying to think about why. Why do I bounce off of that? And I did come up with a reason. So here on the screen right now is the boss fight that I bounced off of. I did come back actually this morning because I watched someone else play it. There's no like health bar on the boss.
Right.
So I played it for a while and I fought and I felt like I was making like no progress. Didn't really get if I was or not. And I watched what I'm watching right now, which is the IGN playthrough video. IGN, again, thank you very much. You guys do spectacular content. No commentary, straight up playthrough video. I watched the fight of this person do it, and it's not that long of a fight. I must have been like very close to the end anyway, because I had killed the little bug. I got through all of like, there's only like 2 phases of the fight. So anyway, that threw me off. I was like, am I no sense of progress. I felt like I was terrible and didn't want to keep being terrible. So I kind of took a break then. It's also not the kind of game that I tend to get into, which is platformy. Platform jumps make my palms sweaty. And I'm like, oh, we gotta jump on I missed that jump. I keep seeing these YouTube shorts of people. There's some really terrible jumps in the game, apparently.
that's actually I wonder why they make that decision not to have some kind of a notion of how much damage you're doing to a boss.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently there's add-ons that people make that give the boss a health bar. But yeah,
So they
I don't
know
know.
people want it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There must be a design consideration there.
It does simplify things. It's,
To
makes it
look
more
anyway.
cinematic. But yeah, it was it was like, I have no idea if I, did 5% of the boss's health or 80%. If I had seen that I was like, 85%, I probably would have just kept doing it and gotten through. One of the things that this kind of game, or a game like Elden Ring, a Souls-like, where it gets me is what people will say is, "Oh, you just got to learn the fight." And that right there, that phrase, I've realized is kind of my main problem.
It's off-putting to you.
Yeah, there are things
Yeah.
in the world that I want to learn. The muscle memory and mechanics of a single fight, so that as soon as I beat it, I will never use it again in my entire life. I mean, you gain a little bit of like like platforming skills in general by playing these games, but the whole like spend a couple hours to learn this fight, and then you complete the fight and you're done. And then you go to the next boss and you never use that learning ever again. You go to the next boss and now you need to learn that fight. Gets stuck in my craw just a little bit. Because I think there's other things I would love to learn that would be things that I could keep in my brain forever and use at least one more time in my life. Like Deuteragonist, I could learn new words. Deuteragonist. Who's the Deuteragonist in this? She was the Deuteragonist. Oh, that's where I learned the word. In Hollow Knight, the first
Yeah,
game.
she was. That's right. That's right. She
was
was.
the Deuteragonist. That's
Now
where
that I
came
know
from.
the word. Now that I know that word too. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, I did come back this morning and got through the first boss fight because I was prepping for the podcast, watched that video, and I was like, oh, that's not bad. I must have been close to being done. I still died like 3 more times. First of all, because I forgot how to even punch or stab.
Yeah.
Because it's a different button. It was one button's for jump and a different button for stab. So I was like, why isn't she stabbing anything?
That would be me for sure.
And then also, whatever, you come up with a strat and you kill the boss. So I did. And then I'm glad I did, because I got to at least one other little bit. And I've watched some videos too and seen some of this, but I met some of the other characters. You get to like a little bit of a town, and you get like this old woman bug creature, like wakes you up. I don't know why the hornet keeps passing out. I'm sure that comes later in the story to learn that. But what I liked, and we found this out with our game, is the characters are voiced, not voiced. They speak and they make little talking sounds, but they're not any real language.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they each have their little like, speech form that they perform whenever they're saying their little words, which I really, really like. I like that concept, and they sound really good in this game. The old woman sounded really good, and when Hornet speaks, she's got little words. She'll be like doot doot doot, and have like a whole like 2 paragraphs on the screen, so it doesn't match up completely. Like, oh, you could have spread it out a little bit more. We do that with our game with the mother character. So we have the floating robot whose name is Mother, and her deal. Our sound designer did the same thing. He came up with a bunch of phonemes, and you can kind of, in our code, we can pick on the fly how many syllables she says and the cadence of those syllables. So she speaks, and we don't have to voice her, and we don't have to voice her in multiple languages if we ever decide to do multiple languages. It's a really clever trick to kind of make it feel like your characters are talking and have a voice.
I like it though. It's a good one.
Yeah. And theirs are really well done. So the sound design is as good as their art design.
Awesome.
But yeah, I kind of regret that it's not a gameplay that I would like more, because the little bits of the story and more of the art and go to these places and the mystery of, why she's been sort of dropped into this world. And I did look up some of the lore, and I would like to explore a little bit more of that, but I don't want to have to do any of the in between. I don't want to have to play any of the game in the in between parts. So I guess I just need to watch a YouTube video.
Of how I feel also about the lore. Like when I was reading about like what is the story of Hollow Knight, the first game, and how is that carried forward in the second game, I super appreciate that there's this fairly deep lore going on. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, that sounds like a job getting familiar with all that.
Yeah. And it is pretty, although there's a nice story, I don't think it's that deep. So Forster's asking, are there difficulty options? No, there are not.
Ooh, that's
and in
interesting.
fact, it is
Interesting choice.
so hard that in theory, they're doing a little bit of a balance match, like this week or next week to tune down a couple of the fights that are just like a little bit too ridiculous, early in the game. Yeah. Yeah, just like go on any of the shorts, YouTube shorts or Instagram or whatever. There's some pretty funny fail videos of people, like even just like the jumping. Like there's like these 5 floating like little seed pods. And you gotta like bonk, bonk. You gotta like bounce up all 5, 6, then get onto this little platform. This guy, I was watching this last night. I don't know how it came. It just popped up in my feed, but he's like bonk, 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 fall. And he
Sometimes I
screams.
get
He's like, ah.
oh no.
And he bonk, bonk, bonk. And he screams. He's like screaming over and over. So
Sometimes these things come up in my feed in YouTube, and it'll be like one dude or 2 dudes or a family even, and they're doing something really super complex, like they're flipping a bottle until it lands on its end, or its top, or they're throwing a ping pong ball so that it lands in like 3 different cups and then hits a target or something like that.
yeah,
And they show you how many repetitions they did, like in I don't know. But yes, it sounds like that.
yeah.
Like you're trying to
You only see the successful one in that case. You
well,
don't see the hundreds of
no, you do
failed
see
attempts.
you
No, but
see
when they
like
show you, yeah,
no, they show you like the first, the 5th, the 100th, the 250th, the 450, and then the final. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a sense of it, but yes, not every
yeah.
attempt.
The fun ones now. The original ones were, just like here's I'm gonna make this full court basketball shot in one shot. I'm so good, and then they
Right.
make it. But it's the ones that have
Right.
like broken it down and pulled back the curtain on what it takes to get those that are the
Yeah.
fun ones. You realize what it is, because
But that would
There's
be
strength in
like
repetition.
Hollow Knight for
strength and
sure is
repetition.
like trying to hit the top of my head on the right
Yeah,
little yeah.
yeah, and like learn, because you gotta you can like do a down
Yeah.
attack. So you jump in the air, so you go up and jump, and then you have to push down on the thumbstick and do your attack down while you're going up. So it's a little counterintuitive. You got to practice it, and again, is that a thing I want to practice? Yeah, here's this IGN article by Rebecca Valentine. Rebecca, great subtitle. So this was like early unassuming mini boss is wrecking Hollow Knight Silksong players, and her subtitle is "To heck with this guy in particular." Period.
I saw that in the notes, and I thought that was you saying that.
No, that was her. That was her subtitle. The IGN article subtitle. So
Nice.
that's fun. I don't know which mini boss. Minor spoilers for early game mini boss. What is the early game mini boss? Is it the Bell one?
I don't know.
His
But
name.
I
No, his
think
name is Scarguard, not Skarsgård.
like yeah,
Well, he's probably related. There's so many of those Skarsgårds.
right. Some of them have to be bugs, right?
Yes. Yeah, we were talking about Andor, and I realized that Lucian is a Skarsgård, another Skarsgård.
I saw a meme that was like, like a who's on first, but it was like he's saying my name is Cassius Andor, and
And or what?
right,
The stormtroopers.
saying Andor what?
What? So the stormtroopers are like, what am I not getting here? No, my name. It's Cassian Andor. Yes. Andor what?
That's it.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Okay. I'm pretty easily entertained.
Yeah. So millions of people, so many people wanted to buy Hollow Knight that it actually broke the stores, which is something new, which I had not heard. So that is fun for them. And then I think it's like super overwhelmingly positive. The only down votes on any of the overwhelmingly positive are it's too hard. There's a couple of those, not a lot, because usually when it's too hard, people don't downvote it very much. Nobody's going to go to like Elden Ring and, a couple people will downvote it because it's too hard, but it's supposed to be. That's what that game is. So, it's like, why did you, why?
Right. And it's like spicy food. If it's spicy for the people who enjoy spicy. It's not spicy so that everyone will love it.
You wouldn't buy any like Diablo style super hot wings and then, write on Yelp, these wings were spicy. I didn't like that.
No fair. No one told me they'd be spicy.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody did. But the other thing, which does concern me as a, in thinking about, as a developer, is the translation. So in theory, they had some downvotes from the Chinese market based on their Chinese translation. Not that it was completely wrong, but enough of it was done in a way using a character set that the Chinese market doesn't prefer, almost as if you were translating a game to English and translated it to like Shakespearean Old English.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So they got some downvotes for that, but
didn't even put enough effort in it to know that it was wrong. Yeah.
Either that or their translator that they chose were trying to do it stylistically. I mean, who knows? I know it's quite hard, and I know a few games have gotten, especially with the Chinese market. Portugal is another one that is particular with their language. You can get hit by that, so you really got to be careful. And game devs do talk about this quite a bit. It's sort of a sticky ground to walk on. Does that make sense? It's fraught with peril. So if we ever go down that path, I'm really going to have to work extra hard, which makes it hard to want to do it, which is that what you want? I don't know. I think when people talk about this in general, they say, I would love to still like have the Japanese game translated into bad English so that I can still have fun and play it, and then have it not translated at all. Except if you download it, vote it every time, then it's not going to get translated into your language. So you got to be careful about that. Because nobody wants their game to be trashed and to get mixed reviews because one of the languages they chose to try to translate to, they didn't do a very good job, because the developers, I'm sure, don't speak a lot of these languages that they're translating into. So they have to trust someone else. And that's a difficult process as well. Anyway, what else we got going on? I played we'll probably talk about this more next week. Maybe, but probably. Unless I end up playing a whole bunch of Borderlands, we'll probably talk about Dune Awakening, which did have a big update. So this was their DLC and Chapter 2 of their main story. Came out this past week. So Forster, just the last thing on Silksong is super cheap. Yeah, there's another thing that all the developers are really happy about. Game of the year, best game ever. People have been waiting for it. 1 billion people are going to buy it, and they're selling it for $15. So your game now what? So I have to sell. So Garden and Goat has to be like $2 to like stack up to them. Guys, you're killing me here. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. So it's super cheap, which was good for them. In two ways. One, it probably did get them some extra sales. There's that calculus, supply and demand. But two, they broke the bank on their first game. Their return on investment was like 10,000%. And it took them so long to make the second game because they were having fun being rich. Apparently, that was part of it. So they finally made the second game, and they're like, I don't know, whatever, make it $15. I mean, it's a video game. How much could it cost? So I don't think they were like trying, like, almost as that feels to me like a gift to the gamers, which is really, really cool. No shade on that, no whatsoever.
Right.
But yeah. But Dune. Speaking of DLC and things that cost money, this DLC probably costs $15. If you bought the collector's edition or whatever the advanced editions of the game, you got it for free. There's a free part and then the DLC part. The free part is the chapter, like the main story chapter, which I have not played yet. And that is the Great Convention. And that's all part of like the wake the sleeper, find the Fremen. You will know when it is done. That whole thing. There's a second part, which is a DLC storyline. That was, I logged in, I showed up in my base, and you get a distress call, a distress transmission. A spice harvester crashed in one of the zones, in one of the PvE zones, and they say, hey, we need some help. Anyone that can hear this, can you come and help us? So you go over there. There's a series of NPCs. They're asking for different amounts of help, and you're supposed to do these bits of help for them. And there's a little bit of a story unfolding. I think I've gotten probably about a third of the way through that, and that's looking pretty cool. And then there's a couple of other things that I'm going to try out. One that people seem to be having fun with is there's that new wheeled vehicle that we looked at in the past. It's got that we were talking about 2 weeks ago, I think, with the big, you're almost like riding inside the wheel. Did they have a picture of it in here? I don't know. One of the effects of that, it just acts as another speeder. Yeah, it's this wheeled thing here. It kind of acts as another speeder, but one special kind of ability that it has over a regular speeder is its vibration factor, its vibration attribute is really low, which means its chance to attract a worm is really low. So people are riding it around in areas of like the deep desert and like in the PvP areas and having fun, up to the point where a lot of people have been asking for something like this. The potential for doing like speeder races through the deep desert, and like you gotta like dodge, try to not get eaten by a worm, and then you get to do these speeder races. And because it generates less vibration, people can be driving around a whole bunch more. Everything in the deep desert. And really, once you get to the point of the game where you have an ornithopter, you kind of never ride the ground vehicles ever again, except for the mining ones. But you never ride your speeder bikes very much anymore. This kind of gives you a reason to. So that's fun. That seems like a fun thing. And I'd love to see some more of those player events like that. I think that's a cool thing. Almost like us doing our speeder events on Tuesday nights now, right,
Yeah.
Sema?
Yes.
You want to describe what Stask has us doing?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I would blame Stask, but
He invented it, I think, didn't he? Yeah, that's his idea. I would definitely blame Stask. Definitely blame Stask. Yeah. So Star Wars: The Old Republic.
yeah, Stask's idea. True.
Are
We go to the
Oh wait, you invited it? This was your idea to drive around?
yeah.
Oh, then Stask made us do it based on your idea. Oh, so I see.
Yes.
You're the protagonist behind the curtain.
So anyway, all we do is we just go to the fleet and we all get on to the best of our abilities on that character. We all get on the same sort of kind of mount, and then we just walk around the street for the fleet for a few minutes. It's fun because it's a good way to end the evening. it's fun to me anyway. And I think it's puts like a fun little social thing at the end of our evening. And if people notice us and want to go, hey, what's up with those guys? Then fine. It's free.
That's
As
a
the kids
key
say.
reason why I like persistent worlds and MMOs and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even if I'm going to play solo, 99% of the time, the fact that you could do something like that and you can just, ride around and show friends your mounts and just do something goofy like that, it
Yes.
is great.
I mean, like I do play solo a lot of the time, and it's more than just that you could do it with other people. It's that other people are around having similar experiences, because I went into this pug recently and the leader of the groups, out of nowhere, he just says, "Oh, wait a minute, Tyestus has to do something. Well, just take a second." And another person out of the blue said, "It's always Tyestus." I mean, this is the first time, but it's always this way. And then someone else said, "That guy." And it went on a few more comments. I mean, like,
yeah. People that have never heard the name before, but
right,
it's just
right.
like,
And it's just,
it becomes like a
it's just like,
shared moment
yes,
in
yes, it's just a little moment.
between
And it only
strangers in an
happens,
open world.
it's,
Yeah.
it only happens occasionally because it's spontaneous, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
The same thing happened. A similar thing happened in Star Wars: The Old Republic when back when Osis was a real big thing, and we were doing those 2 world bosses every week. I got in this one group, and everybody in the group was talking to each other like, "Good eve, my good sir." Not like role playing, but just like being like super, super polite, like, "Gentlemen, are we ready?"
Mm,
And I
nice.
don't know why they were doing that.
It's like making fetch happen. Sometimes you can just like do a thing and you get like the right mood going on and people will glom onto it and it becomes a thing, and it's just like, again, it's a fun moment. It's these spontaneous moments of surprise and delight.
So yes, persistent worlds and weird things happening.
Yeah. That's the fun of it. And you get to show off your stuff. That's the other thing. You get to show off some of your mounts. So collecting things is fun. Collecting things and being able to show it to someone else and have them go, "Good for you. You got that awesome thing that I don't have." That's even better. It makes it so much sweeter.
But I do feel like modern games that have a collector portion are getting better about, like, you get it if you put in the effort.
Yes, and everybody can end up getting it, and things aren't as
And there's
exclusive.
There's a few things that remain, for the 1% that this game is their life. But it doesn't have to be every single cool thing that comes out.
Right. Final thing in the news, random cool thing of the week. I just stumbled across this. I think it's even a third-party add-on. I don't think it's not like Microsoft made this, but Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 has an add-on called the Jurassic World Archipelago.
Wait, that's an add-on?
Yeah, it's like it's some kind of DLC or add-on. Yeah, it's not part of the base game. Yeah,
right, but it's not made by the community.
No, well, I think it's made by like a developer, and it's you buy it, but it's not.
Oh, but it's not made by Microsoft.
It's not made by Microsoft, I don't think.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's made by someone else. Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's made by someone else as like an add-on that you buy. But still, it's Jurassic Park. You get to fly over the islands of the Jurassic Park movies. You get to fly over the archipelago, and it's amazing. It is incredible. So it's the old movies and the new movies. All the dinosaurs are there hanging out. You get to like fly over all of the buildings that you saw in the movies. And
you can fly through some of them, apparently.
Yeah. Like these helicopter rides. And you can see here at the end, you can land like say you like get out your helicopter, you fly to the island, you can land and walk and get out and walk around. Apparently, I didn't realize you could do that now in Flight Simulator. We were looking that up because some of these shots, some of these camera angles of showing the content are like at ground level, or one of them is inside like the aviary where the pterodons were.
Oh.
Apparently maybe you could get out in any of these places. Maybe you can like land your helicopter right in the middle of all these stegosauruses and walk around and pet them or something. I don't know. It's just seeing it and hearing the music hit a few different nostalgia.
Yeah, the music really brought it
mind.
home, I have to say.
The music of the original movies, that theme song is just so iconic. That is a nostalgia bit for me, for sure. I love that. I love that theme song. At one point I picked it up as a piece of piano music and was learning to play the whole thing. And the other thing is just remembering Flight Simulator, remembering however many years ago, decades ago, my first experience of seeing Flight Simulator for the first time. And I'm sure back then it was like 5 polygons or whatever. The nostalgia of the first time seeing that on a computer and realizing this is the future. If you can do this kind of thing, if you can have this idea of simulating flying a plane in a however real this feels at this moment and it getting more and more real into the future, that's just amazing. And then this is the computers. Those computers, I think they're going to really take off there. So you know how far back I'm thinking. So this is probably going back to the late 70s, early 80s for me. Yeah, just amazing. Flight Simulator was one of those early ones that really had me sold on computers as my life. So that's cool. Coming soon. We do have coming soon, as of basically late tomorrow into Friday, Borderlands 4. Unfortunately, it will not be on Game Pass, so I kind of do want to play it, but I think I would be having to pay full price. I'm gonna have to check like all my subscription services and see where I could potentially get it, but I might have to pay full price if I actually want to play it, which maybe I will. We'll see. I love this is another one where I really love the art style. I've always been fascinated by the cell shading, and they are masters at it. They do a combination of very finely tuned textures on the models and then post-processing on top of that to give you all of like the sharp edges and outlining and things like that. It's just great. I like that part of it the best, like more than like the shooting gameplay and here's a million guns and go try all this next crazy gun that makes somebody explode or set on fire, which is a fun part of it too. Those games are always fun. Like I had fun with Doom, for example. But the art is what I'm most impressed with on Borderlands, art and design. So yeah, I'd love to play it, but I don't know if I want to pay $70 to play it. So we'll see.
Right.
I think that might be what it is.
That does. Yeah. I mean, I don't question whether it's worth it, but it does make that decision harder.
Yeah. It just makes it a hard decision. Exactly. So we shall see on that one. Then on the 19th, so this is next week, we are getting Jump Space, about a week and a half. We're getting Jump Space. That was Drop Ship or whatever it was used to be called. Had to be renamed. Jump Space looks really fun. I do hope we can get some friends to go and play this. It's a PvE version of Wild Jump Space Dreamhaven thing game. What was that Dreamhaven game? Wild Ship
Space. Overwatch 2 in space.
Yeah, Overwatch. Can I just type that in Wildgate? Yeah, there. I knew there was a wild in there. Wildgate. It's a PvE version of Wildgate. So where Wildgate is very PvP focused, Jump Ship is very PvE focused. So get with your friends and go do these missions, and like pirates spawn when you're trying to get out, and fun things happen and things like that. So that just sounds really fun, and the gameplay looks really fun to me. The coordination and people yelling at each other and that kind of thing would be great. And then as we get into October, the other two that are still on the list that we'll keep an eye on is by the end of October, we will get Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, which again still makes me happy. And the biggest one that I'm still waiting for in the next month and a half is Outer Worlds 2. And that's definitely on my must-play list for the year. All right, Sema. Did you know that this podcast is brought to you by Garden and a Goat, the game from Contemplation Games?
I had heard that before.
Yeah, it's currently in Alpha 2. There's a play test going on now, and you can get to it, come chat with everyone that's playing it. We do have quite a few people that are playing it. We've got about 35 people in the alpha test, which is slightly more than I had wanted. We don't want it to get too big, so it's unmanageable. But we've already got people providing feedback, a lot of notes. We've got a survey that's going to be going out this week that we're going to be encouraging people to fill out and sort of tie that all into the next couple of months of development, which will bring us to beta and on the road to early access. It's been really fun. Podcast is also brought to you by Aleact Est. That is our gaming community, aie-guild.org. You can check that out if you're looking for fun people to play with in those persistent open worlds who will speak in genteel language if you insist. They will be your deuteragonist, bro. This is also brought to you by all of you out there watching, listening, and in the chat room right now. Thanks so much. We got a good group, usual suspects, hanging out, which I really like. That has been great. All right, Sema, more survival.
Tell us about it.
Say it again.
I want to survive.
Louder.
I want to survive.
Come on.
I want to survive.
Like you mean it.
I want to survive.
Louder.
I want to survive.
Yeah.
Abiotic
Those
Factor.
guys.
Abiotic. That's how you pronounce it. That's the right way to pronounce that word, but I feel like it's not.
Like it should be a biotic.
I can't think of another way that you would even sound remotely correct to pronounce it. But yeah, I feel like in the UK, it's got to be pronounced, like abiotic or I don't know. Abiotic, like that A just sticks out there so much. It's like hanging out there. But that's what it is. It's Abiotic Factor. And what this game is often described as, which is kind of weird, is think of like Mass Effect. No, not Mass Effect. What am I thinking of? Half-Life. Think of like the Half-Life vibe where like things have gone bad and there's like almost like zombie alien stuff going on, and like the things that like clamp on, the head crabs that clamp on your head. There's a little bit of that kind of vibe mixed into a crafting survival experience. It has a little bit of a twist on that. So I think we'll talk about that a little bit, of what makes it a little bit different. It's special sauce that makes it not the same typical crafting, building, survival, like Valheim, for example. Valheim is relatively simple in its path and progression. And that's not what Abiotic Factor is. Abiotic Factor spins a couple other things into the sort of like the gameplay of where you're headed in a really cool way. I played quite a bit of it. From what I hear, even though I feel like I've played like, a third or half, I feel like I've experienced half of what there is, but probably only 20% of the playthrough time, because apparently it's like just like tons of, more zones that you unlock. You keep unlocking zones. You got to go to the next place. And now there's like a whole nother zone that you got to go through. And, but I've unlocked like a lot of the things. I've understand the tech trees and the skill trees and that kind of thing. So I've got a ton of experience with it and having quite a bit of fun. You play as just a random scientist in this facility this facility ends up so you create your little character as just like this random scientist character, and you are working in the facility. It basically, as soon as you get there to do your job, like somebody drives you in. This is like your first day, and as soon as you get there, things are already going bad, and then like immediately the place is in lockdown, and because there's, you don't really know, but then you like keep hearing broadcasts like, containment breach, shelter in place, toxins in the air. So just everything is containment of whatever science garbage was going on is getting out of control. The one other twist that I think really needs to be sort of explained is the graphical style is very low poly. It's very low poly. It's first person 3D world, but it's very pixelated, very low poly. To the point, if I had to talk about any detractors of the game, the things that I don't like, I kind of feel like it's almost too low res, too low poly. I realized that it was a stylistic choice, and it gave them probably some flexibility to have the zones in the world be much more extensive than they probably could have. But it's almost distractingly low poly for me. I playing the game and almost like headache inducing in the first few times I played it, which I think unfortunately is just a little bit of a detractor from an otherwise really well made exploration, adventure, puzzle, crafting survival game. So yeah, crafting survival. You can play it multiplayer with up to 6 players. You do need to build little bases. You do need to like build your first crafting table. Because you're in this facility, all the resources you pick up are things you're like picking up off the ground, or like office furniture you're hitting with a hammer to break it down into its component parts, and those are your resources. You're busting open the doors, and you're cracking open the computer monitor to get a coil of wire and a circuit board out of it so you can make the next thing you need to make. All the time you're doing this, there are enemies. The enemies are these weird creatures that have broken out of containment. The main one that are like little rat versions of them that you're experiencing, like coming and keep biting you and things like that and chasing you. You got to fight them. The first thing you do is you like pick up a pipe off the wall, and you get your little crafting table, and you some pipe and some duct tape, and you make a little club out of a pipe, and then you just smack them. You do that for quite a while. For many hours, your main weapon is just smacking things with a pipe.
Can you get dysentery?
You can get poisoned and radiation burns, and radiation is a big thing. All of the creatures that you're killing are slightly radioactive, and as you pick up their meat, which you need to then cook to make food because you're trapped in this facility, if you're holding too much of that, you get radiation. You can get illnesses, so maybe dysentery. Like, I never got an illness. I was full of radiation all the time, and I got poisoned. But what did I get? Something happened. Oh, I whacked a bunch of the rat things, and they burst and like get blood all over. It's first person view, so you can't see yourself. But at one point it said, "Man, you are covered in gross goo, and if you don't wash up, you have a higher chance of getting sick." I was like, "Oh, I guess I can get sick in this game." And there's illness, so I had to go to like.
I guess I can wash up in this game.
Yes, so then I had to like go down to the lobby where there's like a decorative fountain, and like walk up to the water and wash myself up in the fountain. And there's like little there's like the public restrooms, because it's all like an office building. There's cubicles, and there's like little kitchenettes as you would have in an office building. If the sink is full of water, you can drink out of it. There's water coolers that are full of water because you have to you have to be hydrated the whole time. But they drain out. So some of them you can like use up. Some resources respawn, some don't. So you can farm some of the resources over time. Some of them you need to like find a different source of materials or source of water or food. So you do need to watch out for that too. But yeah, there's cooking. There's a whole cooking system. Cooking soup is the main kind of recipes that you collect. So you get different ingredients and it might unlock a new soup recipe. And some of the different soup recipes might have different buffs and things like that. So that's a fun side aspect of the game. The main thing you're doing though is you're making equipment. And it's just like every other sort of like building, crafting, survival game. It's escalating bunches of equipment, and each of the zones might add like a new component that unlocks a new tier of equipment. The way they deal with the equipment for you though is almost kind of like a little mini game where after you've kind of unlocked, discovered a possible new piece of equipment, like now you can make a Geiger counter. You go to the crafting screen. There's 4 boxes of 4 components that create the Geiger counter, and you have 8 possible ingredients, and you need to figure out which of those 8 make the Geiger counter. That's kind of how it works. So little bit of a mini game to mix and match, to sort of you feel like you're discovering the recipe. So it's kind of cool that way. So yeah, so Saturn in the chat room saying, and it is in a weird spot graphically. It is even, I feel like even lower poly and more pixelated than Valheim, which Valheim is quite like low poly and pixelated, but Valheim at least kind of like, it's like smooth shapes, where this is like even like one more ratchet down on the number of polygons and the quality of the textures, as I said, which really gets it into that. To me, it's a detractor, of visually detracting and fatiguing to look at for a while.
Yeah, I can see that.
The other twist,
as opposed to Hollow Knight, which is still also not using a lot of resources, but it's fascinating to look at.
Yes, very pretty and smooth, and no sharp edges. This is like everything's just, rectangles. It's 3D objects and they're all rectangles. Yeah, that's very artistic, and you feel like you're in this rich environment, whereas here you're purposefully not. That's what they've created on purpose. And as I said, it probably gave them the flexibility to create more of these environments that they wouldn't have been able to in the past. Because the facility and the different levels, you keep going up levels and into these new areas, is very big. It's this huge office complex that you're going through, apparently.
And it's definitely a decision, because this game is made in Unreal 5, so it's not limitations of the engine. It's a decision they made.
Right. Yep. So the other twist that this has on a lot of other building survival games is it's not just get to the next tier and then like kill a boss to unlock the next thing, to get to the next tier and kill a boss and unlock the next thing. It's also almost like a roguelike, where you're exploring and you can't get into these other areas and you can't find where you need to go. And you can't unlock the next area until you craft the next thing and build the next thing and gather the next resource and fight through the next area. And then you might unlock a way to get through, like you go back to the beginning, to a door that you couldn't open before, that now you can open, and now opens a whole new area. And that new area might have another tier of resources, but you're still going through this exploration and like, oh, now I can get through these vents in all of these places. So now I can go back and break open these holes that I couldn't get through before. And now I can jump really high. So now I can go back to these other parts of the facility and get new things and unlock new boxes and find new resources that I couldn't before. So puzzling that out is a really fun part of the game, and it's a really core part of the game as well. The story is you're trying to get out. You know, the facility is in lockdown, and it keeps telling you to shelter in place, and things are going bad and worse. You run into other little NPCs, and they might like give you hints or tell you to go do a thing. Like you find a guy that's crashed by a forklift that's half tucked under a door, and he says, "Oh, the forklift's broken. I can't get it open. But if you could get a power cell, we could get through this door. Wouldn't that be great?" Okay.
Yeah.
And then it shows up in the upper left of your screen. You can actually see it right here in this playthrough. Open silo 3 to retrieve power cells. Okay. Well, how do I open silo 3? Now you got to go figure out how to do that. There's another layer on top of this, which is the containment of these perforated, like, other zones or world. And what it does is it kind of like opens these scientists have been opening these portals to alien places and like other non-alien places and weird areas. And
It's always the scientists.
those damn scientists. This is why we don't trust science, Sema. So you unlock and find some of these portals into these new locations, go through the portal, and the first one you go through is into like an alien land with just a small area. It's like this floating island with a couple mean aliens on it who are trying to kill you, big ones that are shooting like lightning balls at you. But if you can fight your way through that, now you've got another area with a couple special kinds of resources. The second one I got to was actually a town. You're out in this other town, and the town is invaded by these big aliens, these giant aliens. They're like 3 stories tall, and they can see you, but they can't hear you. And if you like hide and stealth around a little bit, you can get around them, and you can't kill those ones. You can kill the other ones in the other zone, but it's another way that's where I found the power cells to open silo 3, for example. And then apparently you can go back to that area over time to get more of these power cells, which become a crafting material for later in the game. What you see right now is there's security robots that come out at night. That's another resource. They're really hard to kill, but they drop a special kind of power resource, which is what I use to open the door to Silo 3. And so that whole puzzly part of where do I get this resource and what do I got to do to get to the next thing to ultimately hopefully get out of the facility and save yourself. I think that's all you're trying to do. It's not some big, you're not like saving the world or, defeating maybe you'd have to defeat some end boss to get out, but you're just trying to get out. You're just some dopey scientist. That was like your first day, you were in orientation, and now you just need to get out of this place. What the heck? I'm trapped in here. There's other dopey scientists that are like, I'm trapped, but I don't know. Some of them are weird. Like at night, the facility power cycles off at night, and half the time at night, I'll come across this weird scientist dude who's like crawling around on the floor, and he keeps saying weird things like, working hard or hardly working, while he's like crawling around on the floor looking for food, apparently. And all the interact on him is only feed me. That's the only thing you can do with this guy. You can't like talk to him. So there's like, he's weird. There's some of that kind of weird stuff. There's other ones that are like, oh, I need my research. Help me find my research, blah, blah, blah. There, you can see the debuff just popped up on this screen. It was, you're absolutely filthy. I guess you're filthy because you were banging on the robot. I don't know how he made you filthy, but you can wash yourself off in the fountain right there. You can wash. There, this person's going to wash themselves. Now they're clean. But they killed the security robot, and maybe they're going to get something for some of these NPCs along the way. Mostly the NPCs are like hints on what you need to do next. So that's sort of the key. Yeah. I guess base building would be another fun thing to talk about.
Yeah.
You do need to build a base. because you have your crafting table, right? And you need storage. You can build some storage. You can also, if you get around any of like the office equipment, you just go, you find a file cabinet. For a lot of the things, you can walk up to them and you have a chance of packaging them, which means turn them into a lootable object that you can then use and place. So if you want an office chair for your little base area, you go over to the office chairs and you got a 50% chance of turning the office chair into a lootable object, and now you have office chairs. Well, file cabinets are a great place for storage. So walk up to maybe only have a 30% chance of turning it into a lootable object, but you can loot it. So you've got the things that you're crafting for your base and the things that you're looting to potentially bring to your base as useful objects to fill out your base, storage. That's a fun part of it as well. As you're discovering different components, you can find new ways to make weapons that you're crafting in your base, but you might also be making machines. So this is one of the things I did. So you saw that person who was like spears. They had this like makeshift like shiv on the end of a stick that was a spear, and they were poking the robot and shooting it with these makeshift bolts that you make out of pens. That was their weapon. And that's how they killed the robot. What I did is I made this device called the Chopinator. And you can make it relatively early on. But first you have to make a battery unit because the lights turn off at night, and that's the only time the robots comes out and all the power outlets go dead. So you have to make a battery, and then you make it's almost like a big fan with like scrap metal fan blades. So I made the Chopinator and powered it with a battery, and then I went to where one of the robots wakes up at night out of its charging unit, and I put the Chopinator down on the floor, and I just stood on the other side of the Chopinator and let the Chopinator chop up the robot until it killed it. So there's clever sort of cheese techniques that you can find and discover as you go along too that are fun. And some of it you need back at your base because there's a base invasion mechanic, as a lot of these survival games have. So if you can kind of see what this person has done, they blocked off part of the area of their base. One of the things that was annoying to start is the first invasions are just the little rat things, but they spawn inside your base. So during the day, you'll get a message that pops up and says, "The air feels strange."
Uh-oh.
And then, and this was kind of annoying, I'm like, oh, that sounds like, be careful tonight. The air feels strange. Oh, there's going to be a base invasion. I gotta be careful about that. All right, let me go back to my base and like fix some things up. Maybe I'll make a place for me to jump up high so they can't get to me and I can just shoot them with my pen gun. The problem was, as I got into my base, in my base on where I was standing is where it was creating these like little breach portal broken spatial anomalies. I'm like, oh crap. So now it's going to spawn these things in my base. So me thinking I was being clever of like going back to my base to create a barricade or something. No, now it's just like right inside is where these stupid rat things are going to spawn. It's like, fine. At first I just fought them off one night with my pipe, just smacked them with a pipe. The second time I made a Chopinator and put it in the middle of the base and just chopped them up that way. And let all the rat things get chopped up. Apparently, there's a way to upgrade your base and your crafting table so that those portals don't spawn in your base anymore any of the nights. This is a person's going to get killed. They're going to get shocked by this robot. Maybe they're not. Death isn't very punishing though. But you could block it off, create barricades so that things only spawn outside your base. And I guess as you progress, more higher level and more challenging enemies will spawn and come after your base. So you want to get like better places to build your base and have choke points and better weapons and defensive and traps and things like that. I like base defense mechanics in these kind of survival games. I thought it was a little cheesy of their first one that they just spawn right inside your base and there's no way you can avoid that. That annoyed me because there was no way to be clever about it. Like I'm jumping up high and then a portal spawns up there. Like, oh, that's really annoying.
So is it like every time, or was it just like the bad luck of your spawn?
No, it's
thing?
kind of designed that way until you
Okay.
figure out how to make them not spawn in your base, which is by a base crafting table upgrade. Once you figure that out, then you realize, oh, okay, that's great. Now I'll be able to not have these things be spawning inside of my base anymore. And now traps that I make and choke points and barricades will all make a lot more sense. So that's great. So this person's just trying to shoot this robot. I blew through 2 stacks of pen bolts with my crossbow, and it still didn't kill the robot. So that's why I went and made a chopinator. I haven't unlocked this. Why do I not have the spear? I still have the pipe thing. So yeah, their spear is going to break. They're going to be in trouble. Oh, they broke the robot. Good job. You did it. So that's pretty much the basis of it. More things that you unlock, more ways to protect yourself from radiation, medicines that you can, and healing things that you can build, more tools that you can end up making, more complex machines, better armor that you can make for yourself. That's all kind of the fun of the progression. And supposedly playing it co-op gets pretty fun too. You have a lot of fun playing with friends. You get we've done this when we played any of these crafting games where you do the base invasion mechanic and everybody has to like scramble and play their part and fight off the invasion and have fun with it. So that's a fun part of these games too. So yeah, that is pretty much it, Sema. That is Abiotic Factor.
So it's kind of reminding me of 7 Days to Die. Because I watched Stask streaming that recently again, and it does have a lot of similarities, like things spawning and then you have to kill them, spawn in your
A little bit of defense mechanics, a little bit of it's kind of zombie-ish, alienish, zombie-ish enemies.
But making your weapons out of things you find, which is common in survival games, but
yeah, scavenging. You could do a little bit of farming, like I grow a tomato plant.
But also the kind of modest nature of it.
Yeah. It's not some epic AAA, high fidelity, Unreal 5 realistic Witcher 3 world experience.
Right.
But it does its job in making the gameplay really fun, and that progression feels good.
Yeah, right. And I feel like that's how people who feel about 7 Days to Die. So that's another thing that made me think of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Stas says it's a bit heavier on the scoots, though. Yes, dysentery is a problem, which would make why I asked the dysentery question, because I was thinking of 7 Days to Die and the debuff. How you know you have dysentery? The debuff is like somebody's butt with a little poop underneath it.
You do have to poop in this game.
Oh.
That is a meter that goes up, and after you have to find a bathroom eventually. I think someone said you can even make fertilizer out of your own feces, but then you have to I don't know what you got to do, because if you go to the bathroom, it just disappears because you're on a toilet. And they have a weird little mini game. That guy did it earlier. Where's this weird mini game? There's 2 mini games. When you sleep, there's a mini game that I don't know the purpose of. It doesn't say, maybe it just makes the night go faster slightly. And then there's a pooping mini game, which I did not understand. Which there's like a little meter sliding back and forth, and it's easing the passage is what is the subtitle of the game. Didn't really seem to do anything except, maybe it cuts down the time you have to sit there for a bite by like 5%. I don't know. I didn't really get the purpose of it. But there's
a pooping mini game.
yes.
I mean, it's making me smile, but at the same time, I'm like, what?
Yeah. And the fact that I don't know why I'm doing it makes it a little bit less interesting and more suspect.
More sus, yeah.
More
surreal.
sus. Oh, you can make fertilizer with found poop, not your own, in 7 days. Really, not your own? Why not? You could do that in Ark. You do it with your own.
Somehow in Ark, when you just whenever the game feels like.
Yeah, you can do it mindfully. You can, but if you wait too long,
you can.
Yeah,
you can. There's a button you can push to poop.
Yeah, there is. It's hard to. It's hard to know. You have to really be watching close to learn the signs. There's a little meter on the screen, and when that meter turns a slightly different shade of gray, then you know that you're kind of ready to go. And if you don't within the next 5 minutes, it will just do it for you, or 3 minutes. You have to poop constantly, 5 times a day. What your metabolism
So
is.
if you do it yourself, can you poop it into a container, or do you still have to pick it up?
You if you want to keep it, you have to just do it on the ground and then pick it up.
So there's no advantage to doing it now, other than if you were getting ready to go on a date or something.
If you do it into a toilet, it disappears, and you can't pick it up out of the toilet. But then you don't have to deal with it being around on the ground.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And doing it mindfully, if you gotta go, I think it drains your stamina just a tiny bit faster. It's a little bit of a debuff. So if you're getting ready for a big fight, you might want to just poop on the ground real quick.
I mean, I respect all the work that's gone into pooping in these games. From a distance.
You know what my game dev promise long ago that I've held true to is I will never make my players pick up poop in any game.
Right.
I promised that to myself.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, it's a thing. It's the 2 mini games that I've run into so far, I don't understand. The other one is when you go to sleep, you have a little dream sequence, and it's a little 2D mini game where you're just jumping over the little rat creatures, like a side scroller jump, when all you do is just jump. And I don't know if it does not. It's not clear that it really does anything. Maybe it just makes the little sleep sequence again get done 5% faster.
Maybe over time you get less and less anxious in your sleep about what you're dealing with. Maybe it's part of being immersive.
Maybe. Doesn't seem to me to do very much. I like the idea of mini games, but I also then want them to have a point and feel good. We're thinking about adding some mini games to ours. Oh, here he is. Here's pooping. There's the mini game, the ease passage mini game. Back it up. So here's going into the bathroom. There's the toilet. You sit down, and here's the little mini game. It's like a little slider. And there he goes, and he didn't have to go very much, so he's done.
He doesn't even have to put his crossbow down.
No, you can still hold your crossbow. Who knows? Maybe you got to shoot a rat while you're pooping. I don't know.
Drink out of the sink. That's a solid choice.
Yeah, the sink water is clean. The fountain water is dirty, and you'll get sick if you drink it. But you can cook it to purify it. But if you take a full pot and cook it, you only get a quarter of a pot of clean water. So you need like 2 pots, because to cook soup, you need a full pot of clean water. So it's a whole rigmarole to get a full pot of clean water if all you have is dirty water source. So it wasn't as effective as I thought. But I guess later on there's like, like water filtration that you can get to. So there's more things to unlock. But the water, the water dispensers, like the 5-gallon jug water dispensers in an office, that's
Right.
those drain and they don't refill, but that's a clear source of clean water. And there's a bunch of those in the level, probably more than you need. So you probably don't have to be like purifying water like I was. But I set up like a cooking station next to one of the fountains so I could like keep switching pots and always have a pot of clean water to make soup out of the radioactive rat meat that I was eating. And you can't make the soup out of anything, because if you just put some rat meat in a pot, that makes garbage soup and you'll get sick if you eat it. So then you have to just dump it on the ground, throw it on the ground. So you have to like discover the right recipes. You have to make some salt and a tomato and a radioactive rat meat. And that makes good soup.
Oh, okay.
That's delicious.
You need that acidity.
The other thing is you find these, I did find a refrigerator. This is like right by that door is where I set up my base. There's probably better places, but kind of doesn't matter that much in the beginning of the game. The other thing that this game is interesting about is the map is relatively connected. You can keep opening up new connections, so you don't have to keep moving your base. Like in Valheim, you want to keep like moving your base to the next area, or at least have a staging area in the next area. But you could set up your main base, and a lot of people do, just like in the starting area of the map. All right, I'm getting too deep into it. We've talked way too much. So that's the game. That's the if you jump in Discord if you want like tips and tricks that I've gotten through so far. But interesting game, fun game. It's probably not my number 1 survival game, but it's a fun entry in the survival crafting exploration in particular. A fun new way to do it. You're not just like exploring the wilderness. You're exploring an office complex, a big office building, which is kind
I
of
do
cool.
like the office setting. Yeah. It's like Circa.
So probably, I'm probably going to play some Dune Awakening this weekend. I'd probably rank Dune Awakening a little higher on those survival crafting games over Abiotic Factor, but it's clever and it's interesting what they've been able to do. It's very indie, like it's an indie team, and they've done a great job. So thumbs up as far as that goes. All right. I think that is enough. I could go on and on talking about my adventures, but that is enough for today. So why don't we wrap it up? Anything else before we go, Sema?
No.
All right. That is it then. All the feed and subscribe links are on newoverlords.com, and our video is up on YouTube/newoverlords. Please come chat with us in our Discord at newoverlords.com/Discord. You can also follow on all the social networks, and we'll keep you up to date there too. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.